Welcome to the channel Basic Bitcoin, where we're growing the Bitcoin education network. Today I'd like to talk about the basics of Bitcoin, what it is and how it works. If you've ever wondered what all the fuss is about with this digital currency, or maybe you're just trying to figure out why people keep calling it the future of money, stick around. We're going to break it down step by step. So let's start with the obvious question. What exactly is Bitcoin? At its core, Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency. That means it's money that exists only online, and it's not controlled by any bank, government, or central authority. It was launched back in 2009 by someone, or maybe a group of someones, using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. We don't know who they are, and honestly that's part of the mystique. Unlike the dollars in your wallet or the euros in your bank account, Bitcoin isn't printed or minted by some official institution. Instead, it's created through a process called mining, which we'll get into in a bit. What sets Bitcoin apart is this idea of decentralization. There's no Federal Reserve pulling the strings, no European Central Bank setting the rules. It's run by a network of computers all over the world, working together to keep everything ticking. That's a big deal because it means no single government or corporation can mess with it or shut it down. It's money without borders. And in a way, it's money without a boss. Some people call it digital gold. And sure, that's a catchy phrase, but it's really more like a global experiment in trust and technology. Now, how does this thing actually work? The magic happens with something called the blockchain. Picture the blockchain as a massive public record book, a ledger that keeps track of every Bitcoin transaction ever made. It's open for anyone to see, but once something's written in it, good luck trying to change it. That's the beauty of it. Transparency meets tamper-proof design. Here's how it plays out. Let's say you want to send a friend 0.1 Bitcoin. You hit send and that transaction gets announced to the Bitcoin network. It doesn't just go straight through though. It's not like emailing a photo. Instead, it gets picked up by miners. These are people or groups running specialized computers that crunch some seriously tough math problems. Their job is to verify that your transaction is legit, making sure you've got the Bitcoin to spend and you're not trying to double spend it somewhere else. Once a miner solves the puzzle, your transaction gets bundled into a block and that block gets added to the blockchain, linked to all the blocks before it. That's where the name comes from, a chain of blocks. This mining process does two things. First, it keeps the network secure by making sure every transaction is checked and double-checked. Second, it's how new Bitcoins are born. Miners get rewarded with freshly minted Bitcoin for their efforts, but there's a catch. There's a hard limit. Only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. We're not talking about some central bank printing more cash whenever it feels like it. This cap is coded into Bitcoin's DNA, and it's expected to be reached around 2040. So, unlike the fiat money we're used to, Bitcoin is designed to be scarce, which is one reason people get so excited about it. The security here is no joke either, because the blockchain is spread across thousands of computers called nodes. Hacking it would mean taking control of more than half the network. That's not just hard, it's borderline impossible with today's tech. Each block is tied to the last one with cryptographic locks. So if you tried to rewrite history, you'd have to redo the entire chain. Good luck with that. So, why does any of this matter? Bitcoin isn't just a neat trick for tech nerds, it's a rethink of what money can be. For one, it gives you control. You don't need a bank's permission to send or receive it, and no one can freeze your account because they don't like your politics. It's private too. Your transactions are tied to a string of numbers, not your name, though it's not completely anonymous, so don't get any wild ideas. It's also a game changer for sending money across borders. Traditional systems like wire transfers can take days and cost you a small fortune in fees. With Bitcoin, you can send value anywhere in the world in minutes, often for pennies. That's huge for people in places where your banking is unreliable or expensive. Then there's the inflation angle. Governments love to print money, sometimes too much, and that erodes what your savings are worth. Bitcoin's fixed supply makes it immune to that. It's not going to get diluted because some politician wants to fund a pet project. That's why you hear people compare it to gold. It's a store of value that doesn't bow to human whims. Oh, and if you're enjoying this dive into Bitcoin so far, do me a quick favor. Consider sharing this video with a friend or family member. And if you want to keep up with the series, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep this going. Speaking of great resources, if you're hungry for more Bitcoin knowledge, please consider checking out Matt Kratter's Bitcoin University channel. He's got a knack for breaking down this stuff with clarity and insight, and it's well worth your time. Back to why Bitcoin matters. It's about freedom. In parts of the world where currencies collapse or governments overreach, Bitcoin offers a lifeline, a way to store wealth that can't be seized or devalued overnight. Even in stable countries, it's a hedge against a financial system that's starting to creak under its own weight. Central banks are pumping out cash like there's no tomorrow, and Bitcoin sits there quietly saying, I'm not playing that game. So that's the rundown. Bitcoin is a decentralized currency built on the blockchain, verified by miners, and capped at 21 million coins. It's secure, it's global, and it's a middle finger to the old ways of doing things. Is it perfect? No, nothing is. But it's a bold step towards something different. Next time, we're going to take a step back and look at where this all came from. In the following episode, we'll dive into the history of Bitcoin, from its shadowy beginnings to its rise as a global force. We'll talk about the key moments that got us here and what they mean for where we're going. So stick around for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.